I was trying to figure out which way to come up on stage. It seemed far if I went all the way around, but then I walked. Anyways, I was told I have to get your attention, so now I'm just killing time until everyone is sat in their seat, and then we can start. You guys all sat down? All good? All right, cool. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you, NCLR, for having me. I am Irene, too. I will be the MC for the evening. Welcome, yes, to the 2026 Champions for Justice Gala for the National Center for LGBTQ Rights. Thank you all for being here tonight. Incredible. Also, everyone looks so dapper. I'm like, man, I should have added a fun bow tie or something. And I will say, by the way, when I got the call about this gig, and by call I mean text message because it's 2026 and nobody calls anymore, I actually didn't think it was real because I got a text that said, hey, this is the NCLR, I want to hire you. Let me know if you're interested and I'll send more information. And I thought that was spam. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I don't know if you guys have had your phone numbers leaked on the internet, but I get a text once a week that goes, good morning, I'm Darlene, a recruitment representative from Indeed. Your resume has been recommended by several online recruitment companies. And I'm like, no, it hasn't. I'm a comedian. I don't have a resume. My resume is, I made 200 people laugh at Chuckle Hut on a Tuesday, or I hosted a gala for LGBT rights, okay? I don't have a real job. Yeah. I know, you guys have real jobs. That's why you guys are sitting down and eating, and I'm just trying to make you guys laugh and move the evening along. But once I talked to the NCLR, I realized this is actually an incredible event, an incredible organization. I'm very honored to be emceeing tonight's gala. And by the way, feel free to eat your salad right now. I'll talk, but you can eat. This is a working dinner for me, okay? They're gonna feed me the leftovers. I'm kidding, but I will eat your leftovers, okay? I'm Chinese, I brought Tupperware. I'm taking it home. It is really amazing to have you all here to celebrate the NCLR and the work it has done and continues to do. And in fact, the NCLR is 49 years old today. Yeah, 49 years of audacious, fearless legal leadership. Almost 50, so you guys got to come back for the 50th anniversary when it has a midlife crisis, you know? And tonight, this stage will be full of badasses. Athletes, influencers, educators, journalists, award-winning civil rights leaders, and, dare I say, the Bay Area's favorite sports team. Yeah, it's not the Sharks, okay? And I have to say, I am a little bit intimidated by all the people that are coming on the stage tonight. They're doing the hard, necessary work for LGBTQ rights so I can come up here and tell jokes, you know? And I am trying to help out more, you know? I'm here right now. And I realized, actually, during the pandemic that I didn't go to any of the protests, in 2020. Yeah, there were a lot of them. My friends went to the Black Lives Matter protests, but I didn't go because I was living with my grandparents at the time, and this was early on in the pandemic. We didn't know how COVID worked, and I didn't want to accidentally get COVID at a protest, bring it home, and kill my grandparents. You know, I had to decide what was more important to me. Not killing my grandma or fighting police brutality. And I went with not killing my grandma. And yeah, and that still weighs on me because she's racist. So I feel like I should have gone and killed two birds with one stone, you know? Am I really an ally? I don't know. Okay, some of you are like, can we laugh at that grandma killing joke? Don't worry, she's still alive. We're Asian, you know, she's gonna live 50 more years, I think. But no, I am trying to be a better activist. It's just hard, you know, because I don't know if I have the right personality to be a good activist, you know, because activists are really annoying. Yeah, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because that's the whole job. You know, it's to be professionally annoying, right? Because you're not gonna change a law by being nice. No, you have to be so fucking annoying that somebody's like, oh, okay, we'll give you gay marriage. Can you leave us alone? I'm trying to eat. Like, that's how social change works, you know, and that is hard for me because I want people to like me. You know, I don't like being in the way. There are protests where people will shut down highways. And I feel bad, you know, I'm like, what if a lady needs to go to the dentist? Now she has cavities, she has to pick up her kids. Like, I would have told her to take an alternate route. Like, I'm not good for the movement, you know? That's why I'm so glad that gay marriage is legal now. Yeah, because that means I didn't have to fight for it, you know? Like, if I was born any earlier and I had to be a part of the movement, I probably would have just, like, been straight. You know, I'm like, that's too much work. Honestly, I'll just get a beard instead. That seems easier. Like if I was alive in the 60s and somebody was like, hey, Stonewall is happening tonight. Do you want to come throw the first brick? You can be a part of history. I'd be like, can I give you $20 and you throw a rock on my behalf? Like, does that count? And I know some of you are judging me right now, okay, but isn't that what charity really is? Like, you're giving someone money to do something you were too lazy to do. Yeah, because I have friends all the time that are like, I donated $100 to save the rainforest. And I'm like, okay, but why didn't you chain yourself to a tree? You lazy piece of shit. So, you know, having said that, fundraising is very important, and it allows the NCLR to do the dirty work that you guys don't want to do, because we're all eating here. So I want to thank our generous sponsors and table hosts who make this night possible. Give it up. Their names are on the screen and their signs are on the table, so yeah, make sure you give them a good shout out. And I know, so it's hard for me to tell jokes when you guys are actively like eating a salad. You guys are like half paying attention and half like, ooh, this salad's pretty good. But I am really honored to be here. Thank you guys so much. And now it is my honor to introduce a co-chair of NCL's Board of Directors. Please give it up for Dulce Garcia. We're gonna keep clapping until she gets up here. Come on, give her a warm applause. I love the dress. Of course.
I figured I'd give you a little twirl, right? Good evening. Welcome, everyone. Thank you. Okay, great. My name is Dulce Garcia. Thank you so much, Irene. I am one of the co-chairs for NCLR. It is a great honor for me to be a co-chair of NCLR. I want to begin our evening with an acknowledgement that we gather here on unceded ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples, who are the original, who are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. We know that it is easy to do a land acknowledgement, but it's never enough to repair a painful history. But NCLR is committed to continuing our work with Indigenous Two-Spirit organizations and activists. Prior to this evening's event, we also made a contribution to the Yunaking land tax at the Association of the Ramaytush Ohlone. And before we move on, as a daughter of immigrants, it's very important for me to acknowledge the servers, the volunteers, the banquet staff, the AV team, the custodial staff, coordinators, and all the behind-the-scenes team members who make this gathering like this possible. So much care and so much labor goes into ensuring everyone is welcomed, fed, comfortable, and supported throughout the event, often in ways that go unseen. We are deeply grateful for your work and for everything you do to help this event run so smoothly. So thank you. Gracias. Now I want to take a moment to thank a few of our amazing sponsors for this evening. But first, a special welcome to State Senator Scott Wiener. I saw you walk in. Scott is such a great friend to NCLR and to so many organizations here in San Francisco. We are happy to welcome you, so thank you for joining us. And now for our sponsors. Thank you to Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, the Marriott, who also generously offered accommodation to our special guests and staff. Thank you to PG&E, to Kirkland and Ellis, to Leaf, Caberser, Hyman, and Bernstein, to Wilson, Sonsini, Goodrich, and Rosati, to Egon Sender, and our incredible individual anniversary sponsor, Robert Holgate, Susan Sachs, Theo Alvarez and Jennifer Brody, and the Sparks family. Now it is our incredible honor to give the first recognition of the evening to an incredible journalist, author, and truth teller, Paola Ramos. In her first book, Finding Latinx, Paola explored how the term Latinx created space for her to belong, not just to one part of her identity, but to all of it at once. It was through that expansiveness that she found herself and found her community. In her most recent book, Defectors, she continues to explore identity, specifically what happens when members of our community move toward ideologies that have historically been used to oppress us, and why. This resonates deeply with the work of NCLR, because we know that if we are going to change outcomes for LGBTQ people, we must work to engage with people who do not think like us, perhaps even more than the ones that do. That means holding the full complexity of what makes us human, our race, our religion, our economic realities, and the many intersecting parts of our identities. That same complexity shapes every interaction in our Hogar, Immigration, and Asylum program. Right now, our clients are navigating an environment of heightened ICE presence in the Bay Area. A freeze on affirmative asylum decisions that continue to create fear and uncertainty in our clients and people throughout the state. The San Francisco Asylum Office has also seen reductions in staffing causing severe backlogs when the stakes cannot be higher. In the final pages of Defector, Paola writes that, quote, as Latinos, we have an opportunity to harness our collective power and reimagine a future that bears no resemblance to any past we've been subjected to, end quote. That is a profound call to action because we all know that one of the reasons LGBTQ people, people of color, and people from marginalized communities continue to face such harsh discrimination is rooted in the fear that we will treat our oppressors the way that they have treated us. We can understand that fear, we can even understand the trauma that drives it. But that path does not lead to liberation. We have an opportunity and a responsibility to be better and do better, not just for ourselves, but for all of us. It is a great honor to welcome to the stage a recipient of NCLR's 2026 Voice and Visibility Award, Paola Ramos.
Thank you so much. It means, I'll be brief because I know there's so many incredible speakers coming, but it means so much to be here with all of you. And thank you so much for Imani for everything that this institution does for the community, and particularly for LGBTQ asylum seekers, which this room knows better than anyone, that it's not just one of the most vulnerable populations, but also very invisible. And I mean, it sounds silly, but it still feels kind of surreal, to be facing one another in the year 2026 under these specific circumstances. I still don't understand that we are where we are. And I'm always seeing like two versions of this country, right? Like on the one hand, it is a country that is in fact inching closer to this majority-minority vision, a country where mixed status families are the norm, not an anomaly, a country where more and more increasingly people like us are stepping into these spaces and stepping into positions of power as our full, authentic selves. I like to believe that we are still very much a country that reimagines this more just version of a democracy that we have yet to see. And then on the other hand, there's this familiar hate that keeps creeping up on us. It's this hate that is always permeating throughout every corner of this country, from Washington, D.C., to the Supreme Court, to state legislatures, to our boardrooms. The hate is there, and the hate is there to not just attempt to roll back all the progress that people in this room do, but the hate is there very much to erase the essence of what it means to be us. And it is still surreal for me to be in this space in the year 2026, and to feel that my body still feels more tight than liberated. Particularly, I feel this sense when I'm traveling across the country, and oftentimes people ask myself, they'll say, so where do you find hope? How do you keep going? In the middle of all of this, how do you do it? And it is a hard question, because oftentimes, as of lately, a lot of my stories have actually taken me to follow a lot of people that are self-deporting. A lot of people that are letting go of the American dream, that are looking outside and trying to find new opportunities outside, and I've been following them. And as I always like to remind myself, this is the first time in over half a century where there are more immigrants leaving than coming to this country. But when I am asked that question, like, how do you find hope? My mind and my memory do take me to the southern border, and they take me right outside the United States, and I can close my eyes, and on the other side of the United States, I can remember all the asylum seekers that I've had the privilege of speaking to throughout my career. And it is there where I remember what it's like for them to look at us from the outside. What it's like for asylum seekers to look at the United States from a distance, and what it is about that gaze that they have, how they're able to hold this very pure dreams and very pure ambitions and curiosities, and this very profound yearning for liberty and justice. They hold everything that this country is supposed to be about. It's in those eyes, and it is in those spaces outside of the United States where I am reminded of the work that everyone here does. That this is in fact a country that does believe in giving people second chances, and that does believe in giving asylum seekers an opportunity to not just survive, but if you're a queer asylum seeker, an opportunity to literally breathe, and exhale, and find love in a different way, and be loved in a different way, and that's a beautiful thing. And so I thank you all for this privilege, but I thank everyone that has given me the privilege of telling those stories, and because they have that clarity, that reminds me that we have to do this work. So thank you all so much.
Now, welcome to the stage, NCLR's Vice President of Legal, the amazing Shannon Minter.
Thanks, you all. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Oh my gosh, it's so great to see all of y'all. It's so good to be here with you tonight, too. Y'all, before I introduce this year's NCLR Courage Award recipient, I want to take a moment to honor the memory of respected constitutional law expert, accomplished civil rights attorney, former NCLR staff attorney, and my beloved friend to many of you in the room tonight, too, I know, David Codell, who tragically passed away last week. You know, I've known David for more than 30 years, and during that time, I watched David change the face of the LGBTQ movement through his brilliance, his commitment to marriage equality, and to fighting for LGBTQ immigrants. David also changed me. He was a brilliant legal mind, but at the center of that brilliance was an understanding of the law's impact on humanity. And sometimes lawyers lose that, but David never did. When Trump took office in January, David contacted me immediately to say that LGBTQ organizations didn't seem to care or to center the impact on LGBTQ immigrants, and he wanted to make sure that we didn't forget to do that. He also recognized that to win, sometimes we need to beat the opposition at their own game, and that doing that requires a dogged and disciplined mastery of the game itself. I mean, he changed me. His work changed the lives of countless LGBTQ people in a way that's too big for us to recognize in this room here tonight. But David, we love you deeply. We hope your family knows how much the people in this room and across our community have benefited from David's life and from who he was as a person. David's courage will not be forgotten. There's another person in this room whose courage is shining brightly in this moment. And that's the Bay Area's own Captain Gordon Herrero, our 2026 NCLR Courage Award recipient. You know, when I sat down to write this introduction for Gordon, I was looking for a number. I wanted to know, of all the people who serve in the United States Army, how many are invited to teach at West Point? It turns out the answer to that question is a tiny fraction of a percent. I mean, West Point, it handpicks its instructors from a very small, carefully vetted slice of the force. And those are the people it trusts to shape the next generation of American military leaders. It is a big deal. It's by any honest measure one of the highest honors the Army can confer on one of its own. Our next guest, Gordon, is one of those officers, and he is one of ours, Captain Gordon Herrero. He's a Bay Area native. He comes from a family where service is the family business. His mother, his grandmother, others before them all wore the uniform. He commissioned through ROTC over the past 10 years. He's earned a Meritorious Service Medal, a Joint Service Commendation, Army Achievement, an Army Commendation Medal with 2 Oak Leaf clusters. He's commanded a movement control team in Korea. He served as a staff officer at the United Nations Command. He's an operations research systems analyst, and the Army sent him back home to California to the Naval Postgraduate School down in Monterey to earn a master's degree in preparation for his next assignment. That assignment was to teach mathematics to cadets at West Point. I really want you to just sit with that for a minute, because the story that's being told about transgender service members in this country right now is a story about people who supposedly cannot meet the standard, who supposedly compromise readiness, who supposedly do not belong. But the United States Army, looking at Gordon Herrero, reached a very different conclusion. The Army looked at him and decided he was exactly the kind of officer it wanted standing in front of its future generals. So he moved to West Point this spring to begin that assignment. And then he was placed on leave. not because he failed a standard, not because of anything he did, because of who he is. And that is the injustice our case is challenging. And Gordon, along with his fellow plaintiffs, had the courage to put his name, his face, his career on the line so that a federal court could say plainly what so many of us already know, that this ban is not about readiness, it's about animus, and the Constitution does not permit it. If any of you have not yet seen Fighting to Serve, it's this new PBS NewsHour documentary that follows one of Gordon's co-plaintiffs, Major Erica Vandal, through her own fight to keep serving. Please do watch it. This was nominated this year for a News and Documentary Emmy, and that nomination in itself, in its own way, is a verdict. I mean, the country is paying attention to these soldiers, and the country can see what's being done to them. You know, when Judge Reyes issued her nationwide injunction last year, she wrote that this policy was, quote, soaked in animus and dripping with pretext. And she could write those words because plaintiffs like Gordon and Erica made the record that made them true. So tonight, we get to do something that the federal government is currently refusing to do. We get to welcome Gordon home, and we get to thank him for his service. So please join me in welcoming a soldier, a scholar, a teacher, a Bay Area son, and a plaintiff to whom we owe an enormous debt, Captain Gordon Herrero.
That's quite the introduction. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you so much. And good evening, and thank you, all of you who are here tonight, for the recognition and the opportunity to speak. Paola, I was just very moved by the words that you shared, and it just reminded me of something that I don't keep in the forefront of my mind, but is so core to my identity as being the child of a Minutemen from Lexington and Concord, from the very founding of our nation, at the same time as my father immigrated to this country when he was 3 years old, and living in that intersection of what does it mean to be the American dream. Like, thank you so much for those words. I must say that the views expressed in my comments are my own, and they do not necessarily reflect the official position of the Department of Defense, the Department of the Army, or the United States government. So that being said, as Shannon mentioned, for the past 10 years, I have had the honor of serving on active duty as an Army officer. My career has taken me from Poland to South Korea to the United Nations Command, and now to my position at West Point. Along the way, I've earned 2 master's degrees, one in operations research and another, with the help of my dear friend in the audience here, Sam, another master's degree in applied math. And despite my accolades, high achievements, prestigious assignments, this whole time I was silently suffering inside, putting on the face of this strong, capable woman who I never truly was. When I joined the Army, I knew that I could be trans or that I could be a soldier, but I could not be both. And so 5 years ago, I was overjoyed when military policy changed and allowed me to pursue my gender transition. In those past 5 years, I've received the highest marks on every evaluation report. I've never missed a single day of work for anything related to my transition, medical or otherwise, until the day that I met Shannon Minter in a DC district courtroom to challenge last year's executive order purging troops like me from the military. The Supreme Court allowed the transgender military ban to take effect shortly after my cohort of new military faculty arrived to West Point last year. I was placed on administrative leave while the rest of my colleagues began their instructor training and teaching. 2.5 weeks from today, I will don my uniform for what could be the very last time as I make my case before an administrative separation board at West Point. Regardless of what happens then, there's one thing that I know with certainty. I know that despite the current political landscape, we have made so much progress. 10 years ago, when I chose to stifle my identity to pursue a career, I could not have imagined being a plaintiff in a case like this, because I could not imagine that I would be alive to see the day that the door for trans equality might begin to open. Despite everything that's happened in the last year and a half, I would not change a thing. I am the happiest and I'm the most comfortable I have ever been in my own skin. And there's no executive order, no military policy, or no backwards law from any corner of this country that can take away the confidence I have found through living truthfully. Tonight, you all are presenting me with an award for courage, but let's be honest. I could not be standing here without every single one of you. Courage is not only what happens in a courtroom, in a military career, or before a separation board. Courage is showing up on a Saturday night and donating your time and your money to a cause that supports people who you will never meet and who will never know your name. Courage is continuing to stand by us unwaveringly, even after the government publishes an official counterterrorism strategy that promises to find and kill those who support pro-transgender groups. And yes, that has happened in the last couple of weeks. Every day, you are the ones doing the quiet, courageous work that does not make headlines, but makes all the difference. So on behalf of the thousands of transgender service members just like me, I want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the silent work that each one of you does to support this fight. You may be presenting me with this award, but it belongs to everyone in this room. My story is not unique, and neither is the courage that brought each of us here tonight. Every day that we stand up in the face of adversity, we make progress. And it is progress that history will look back and applaud us for. But more importantly, it's progress that the next generation will not have to fight as hard for. And I think about that next generation often. I think about the kid who believes that they will have to choose between who they are and the freedoms that they can hold. And because of each of you in this room, the world that kid will inherit will be freer and it will be more just than the world that we were given. So that is why we show up, and that is why, no matter what happens to me in 2.5 weeks at West Point, no matter what happens next month when Shannon and I return to federal court, and no matter what happens on that day we eventually stand before the Supreme Court, I am proud and I am unafraid. Thank you all.
How about one more hand for our honorees, Paula and Captain? And while you guys are still half standing, about to sit, can we please recognize Supervisor Connie Chan? I think Connie's somewhere here. I don't know, somewhere. So I was told Connie's here. So, well, we clapped. We did it. All right, so now it is time for our dinner break. And while we're breaking for dinner, I think it's probably 30 minutes. I don't know, however long it takes for you guys to eat that. We have raffle tickets available for sale during the dinner break. I assume the raffle tickets are maybe in that adjacent room. I was not told where the raffle tickets are. I feel like it's probably that way. Just look for where people are accepting money. The raffle tickets, they are $50 or 3 for $100. And Olivia Travel has been a supporter of the NCLR for decades, and once again has donated a $10,000 trip for 2 to our raffle. $10,000 trip for 2, so you can win that. So make sure you get a raffle ticket. You can also win an incredible Valkyries experience and so much more. So as we begin our dinner break, you will be able to take a look at the Olivia Vacation for lesbian, queer, non-binary, and trans travelers you do not want to miss. So enjoy dinner, and we will be back with the second half of our program. And the video, I think, will play on the screen. All right, enjoy dinner. All right, everyone, we're gonna start the second half of our program. So if you guys can all find your seats. All righty, did you guys all enjoy dinner? Did everyone have a good dinner? Yes? Amazing. All right, so personally, I am very excited for our next award. And if you guys didn't know, I'm actually a huge basketball fan. I played when I was a kid. Yeah, that was my favorite sport. I played every day after school. And that's kind of how my mom knew I was gay. Yeah, because I wore baggy shorts, and like a t-shirt, and she was like, oh, I think something's up. She likes basketball a little too much, you know? And also the only Barbie I ever owned was always naked. Right, you know you buy little girls Barbies so they like buy more clothes to dress her up. I was like, no, she's fine the way she is. Barbie wants to go skinny dipping every night, very gay. But I was convinced that I was gonna make it into the WNBA, but then I stopped growing. I'm 5'5", and I was not good enough to compensate for my lack of height, so now I just support other taller, more talented people. And I love the WNBA. I feel like the WNBA is actually the new queer bar. Right? Like, that's where I meet people. Every time I go, I'm like, oh my God, this is just like a lesbian bar. And I don't want to say that everyone who loves women's basketball is queer. Obviously, that is not true, okay? But a lot of queer people love women's basketball. Okay, that Venn diagram is a circle, all right? It's pretty much everyone here. And I was actually able to go to a few Valkyries games last year. I don't know how, they're all sold out. It's crazy. So hook me up, you know what I mean? Like, I can't get in these games. And I had the absolute best time. The vibes there are incredible. So I am so excited to welcome our second board co-chair, Karen Bowen, to the stage to present the Vanguard Award to the Golden State Valkyries. So please give it up for Karen Bowen, everyone. Oh, there we are. Yeah, keep clapping all the way to the mic.
Hello, hello, hello. I have been asked to channel my inner dominatrix to get your attention back here. Okay? Okay. So I know that your table mates and everyone who is here is fabulous because they're fellow fans of NCLR, so why wouldn't they be, right? Right? But we're gonna bring it all in. We're gonna bring it in. We're gonna do the clink glass thing. Okay, okay, so as Irene mentioned, I am the other co-chair of NCLR. I get to be on the board going into the next fiscal year when I believe this administration will deliver us many opportunities to be relevant and defend our community. So thank God we're here, right? I mean, this is an environment that is more hostile than any I can remember in my lifetime, which is saying something. Like, you know, those of us that have a few years on the odometer can relate to this. It's really bad. So what can you do except have a great party? Gather your friends, draw them close, and celebrate an amazing organization. I love NCLR. I love that I get to be part of this. I do. I love it. All right. So it is now my great honor to deliver NCLR's Vanguard Award to the Golden State Valkyries. The Vanguard Award recognizes those who push the envelope to create something in spaces that didn't exist before. The Valkyries represent the power of what's possible. Belief in a better tomorrow, commitment to breaking ceilings, bringing joy, inspiring culture and communities, all while wearing what I have been advised is the shade of violet. So Now, I know all of you probably feel as proprietary about the Valkyries as I do. I mean, some of their biggest fans are in this room, right? But one of the things we love is that their defiant strength, power, courage, they rally folks beyond their base, right? They make Valkyries in specific and women's basketball in general fans out of all different kinds of folks, which, if you stay with me here, it connects NCLR to the representative who's here on behalf of the Valkyries, okay? So really, now you start with strong feminists, just all of you, right? Mostly queer, right? Okay. They bring passion and dedication to a pursuit they love. At first, they're not appropriately recognized for their effort, but they labor on while the world gets ready for them. Now, what is the key to bridging the gap between hard work and passion and success? It's visibility, right? And now, what does the corporate world call visibility? Marketing. Marketing. All right, so please welcome Andrea Fernandez, Vice President of Marketing, to the stage to accept this award on behalf of the Golden State Valkyries.
Hello, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here tonight. Thank you, Karen, for the wonderful introduction. On behalf of the Golden State Valkyries, I'd like to thank the National Center for LGBTQ Rights for bringing us together this evening to celebrate the strength and impact of the people in this room, and for 49 years of relentless work to ensure we all have the freedom to thrive. I'm speaking not only as an individual who has directly benefited from their work, but for the entire Valkyries organization. Our fans, our players, our employees, and our local communities have all been impacted by the inclusive world you've worked so hard to create. We wouldn't be here without you. From the beginning, the Valkyries were built on the belief that everyone deserves to live and play out loud. Our mission is to uplift our Bay Area fans, create a home where our community feels protected and celebrated, and build spaces for people to experience the thrill of women's basketball while embracing their authentic and diverse selves. And when you come to our games at Valhalla, I hope that's exactly what you're feeling. This is made possible thanks to a shared commitment we have with organizations like NCLR. While they work through courtrooms and legislature, the Valkyries show up for the cause through visibility, inclusivity, and what our president, Jeff Smith, calls relentless joy. The Valkyries are a defiant symbol of strength, courage, and community. By coming to our games, supporting our players, going to Ricky's for a watch party, or wearing your Valkyries violet, know that you are helping us build a space where joy is the standard and authenticity is the ultimate win. So please keep showing up, keep coming to Valkyries games, and most importantly, keep being unapologetically yourselves when you do. Let's continue to be proof of what's possible when we refuse to show up as anything but ourselves. Thank you all, and I look forward to seeing you at the Valkyries Pride Night on June 26th. It really is a great place to find a date, so please come out.
And now, please welcome to the stage NCLR's Senior Staff Attorney, Amy Whalen.
Hi, everybody. All right. NCLR started our sports project 25 years ago to target discrimination against LGBTQ people in sports. We were the first national legal organization to take this step, and we did it because of the rampant homophobia in sports leading up to that time. As we know from our honorees here tonight, sports are special, not just because of the skill and the dedication they require, but because they create community and connection. They teach lifelong skills and foster teamwork and collaboration. And while some kids would much rather be reading a book or playing music, others find incredible physical, mental, and educational benefits from playing sports with their friends. NCLR's sports project has been dedicated to those kids and to athletes, administrators, and coaches since its inception. In 2005, we represented Jen Harris in a discrimination suit after she was harassed by her coach and kicked off the Penn State basketball team for being gay. Her coach, Renee Portland, had a no lesbian policy. NCLR settled the case for Jen in 2007, and Portland resigned that same year. That case also inspired the film Training Rules about homophobia in women's college sports. NCLR also filed and later settled a discrimination lawsuit against an East Bay ice skating rink that banned a male skating couple training for the 2007 gay games. And over the years, we have litigated employment discrimination cases on behalf of coaches who were fired for being gay, including one coach who was fired right after telling her team the celebratory news that she and her wife were having a baby. Outside of litigation, NCLR has partnered with the NCAA on our Common Ground initiative for many years. We gather staff, administrators, and athletes from conservative religious colleges to create policies that both support LGBTQ athletes and respect the religious missions of those schools. And NCLR worked for years with high school athletic associations across the country to create common sense policies about transgender athletes. Those policies considered age and other relevant factors and recognized that categorical bans are discriminatory and are harmful to all children. As a result of those policies, transgender children had played sports with their peers for years when, starting in 2020, states started passing laws banning transgender kids from playing school sports. NCLR immediately sued states for those bans, and those cases are still ongoing. But it's really important to understand the dark moment that we are in. Since Trump took office 2 years ago, the political attacks against transgender children have become dire, including in sports. We are witnessing in real time the performative cruelty against transgender people from a party that depends on fear and oppression for its political survival. And there are real and horrifying consequences for families that NCLR works with every day. It is now the norm for right-wing groups to dox and target transgender children online and to show up at their competitions to harass and terrorize them and their families. The law alone is not going to get us through this time. It is more important than ever that we come up with creative ways to protect these kids and their families, and that's exactly what we are doing. We do this work because we know sports should be safe and supportive places for athletes and coaches, not political targets of politicians who trade in fear and violence. Tonight is a reminder of our incredible strength and our incredible community. As we celebrate the teams and the LGBTQ athletes who are showing us all to be leaders, you can be sure that NCLR will continue our groundbreaking work protecting LGBT coaches and athletes. With that background, I have the great honor of giving our second Voice and Visibility Award this evening to Leja Clarendon. Leja is a WNBA All-Star who became the first out trans and non-binary player in WNBA history. That happened in 2020, the same year they became a parent. Selected number 9 overall in the 2013 draft, Leja played basketball professionally for 11 seasons. In 2017, they were named a WNBA All-Star, led the league in total assists, and broke the franchise record for assists in a single season. Leja went on to capture gold with Team USA in the 2018 FIBA Basketball World Cup. And Leja was a leader on and off the court. They were elected to serve 2 terms as vice president of the Women's National Basketball Players Association, helping to negotiate a groundbreaking collective bargaining agreement that secured higher wages, better benefits, and centered player activism for all the players in the WNBA. Leja is a social justice advocate, a public speaker, a writer, and now a sports commentator. They are also an anchor athlete for Athletes for Impact, where they run the Leja Clarendon Foundation, which focuses on healthcare access, grants for the trans community. Role models like Leja are the reason we see progress and change and eventually win. Leja sadly could not make it with us here tonight in person, but we congratulate her on this award, and let's give her a round of applause. And now it's my incredible honor to present our last, I'm not gonna present it, I'm gonna prevent it. I'm gonna present our last award of the evening, the Courage Award, to Jazz Jennings. Jazz is sitting here tonight with us as a 25-year-old, but in 2007, she was NCLR's 8-year-old client. Her parents turned to NCLR for legal support when Jazz was prohibited from playing on a youth soccer team. After 2 years of advocacy, the United States Soccer Federation created a policy to include all transgender athletes who wanted to play youth soccer. Jazz is one of the most recognized transgender activists of her generation. She gained national attention for her advocacy, which started in elementary school and has never stopped. Jazz is a Harvard University graduate, an honorary co-founder of the Trans Kids Purple Rainbow Foundation, a spokesperson, an author, an influencer, and a television personality. We had the opportunity to get Jazz to say a few words to everyone here tonight on video, so please turn your attention to the screens.
When I was 8 years old, I was banned from playing girls soccer for over 2 years. It was a tough time, but NCLR joined me in the fight for my rights to play. To me, childhood activities are really about belonging and not just the activity itself. Playing with friends and being on a team helps kids understand who they are and where they fit in. Being transgender is hard enough, so participating as a girl was about being seen and accepted for my true identity. Every kid deserves to feel included, build friendships, and participate fully without barriers. To tell a kid they can't play is cruel and discriminatory. NCLR changed my life. Back then, I was so young, I didn't fully understand the legal fight at the time, but it felt great knowing that NCLR had my back. Thank you, NCLR, for supporting me as a young child. Thank you for helping ensure I was seen and treated as who I truly was. And thank you for your advocacy, which helped open the doors for other kids too. I'd want to tell all trans kids, stay strong. I know how challenging it is, but remember that there are people who will support, love you, and embrace you for who you are. Stay true to yourself and reach out to people you trust. You deserve love, respect, and the chance to thrive. Our community is about love and belonging, and we are on the right side of history, the side of freedom and equality. Something that a lot of people don't know is that 20 years ago, when I was beginning kindergarten, my elementary school was not supportive and they wanted me to enter as a boy. However, we held a meeting with the school and NCLR was there to help fight for my right to attend as a girl. Due to NCLR's support, the school changed their mind and allowed me to enroll as a girl. However, the school wouldn't let me use the girls' bathroom, but that's a whole different story. Thank you, NCLR, for always being there for me.
Please help me welcome NCLR Champions for Justice 2026 Courage Awardee, Jazz Jennings, to the stage.
Thank you so much. I know I'm the one receiving this incredible award, but I believe I should really be thanking NCLR for supporting me when I was just a little kid starting kindergarten and for standing beside me in the fight for my right to play girls soccer. Your support gave me the courage to live openly and authentically, and I hope this reminds others that they too deserve to be seen, accepted, and celebrated exactly as they are. Thank you, everyone. You are all so amazing and beautiful, and have a wonderful night.
Keep it going for Jazz Jennings, everyone. All right, now I am so excited to introduce a woman who, in this room, needs little introduction. For 6 years, she has led this organization to fight the good fight, showing a sheer force of determination and strength when we have needed it most. This small but mighty team of brilliant people change our world for the better every single day. And right out front, leading the way, is NCLR. I've said this a lot of times today. You guys know it's getting a little jumbled in my mouth now. But leading the way is NCLR's incredible president, Imani Rupert-Gordon.
Yeah. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Y'all, it is an honor to be in this room. It is always, always a pleasure to have an opportunity to address you. I want to start by thanking you for spending your evening with us. It's your investment in justice and your belief in us that makes NCLR possible. And I'm grateful for our time together this evening because I know how much we need each other right now. And because I know that we're at a turning point in our country. We're at a moment when we are called on to take on the fights that will decide our future and make our history. And it has to be us. Recently, we've watched some of the most powerful institutions in our country turn their backs on democracy and capitulate to the Trump administration's unconstitutional demands. It was honestly shocking to see how many of those institutions and how they compromised so quickly. Ones that we thought shared our values, ones that we thought were friends. And in the face of that kind of shameless abandonment, it's easy to wish that they had stayed in the fight. I love the St. Crispin's Day speech, mostly because my sister named one of her cats Crispin after the speech, and I'm a proud auntie, so I don't have a choice. But also because that speech is about a moment just like the one that we are in now. In the speech, King Henry is addressing his vastly outnumbered English army while they look at French troops and they tremble at their size. Someone wishes that they could bring more men from England to fight with them, but the king said no. In fact, he invited any soldier who didn't want to fight with them to tell him, and he would give him money and passage to go home. Because he didn't want to fight alongside of anyone that didn't think it was an honor to fight alongside of him. And I feel that exact same way. Because fighting for justice is a calling, it's not a favor. And NCLR has never backed down from making history. And that kind of courage matters right now because the Trump administration is dangerous and it is systematically dismantling the protections designed to keep us all safe. The attacks against healthcare for trans people have been devastating. The attempts to criminalize parents, hospitals, and doctors have a chilling effect on families across this country. Parents afraid to seek care for their own children, and doctors afraid to provide it. At the same time, mass ICE agents are roaming our cities, snatching people from work, from school, even from their own immigration court hearings, and leaving kids without parents, with no warning and without protection. And LGBTQ asylum seekers who have for decades been recognized as having a valid claim to protection in this country are watching that promise quietly disappear behind closed offices and engineered delays. This is a coordinated assault, and NCLR is meeting it on every front. When this administration rolled out anti-LGBTQ executive orders, NCLR filed the first 4 legal challenges in the country. Not weeks later, we did that immediately, and we haven't slowed down since. We just filed a class action lawsuit to block the Department of Justice from seizing families' confidential medical records. We expanded our challenge to the transgender military ban in a class action so it protects every transgender service member, not just our plaintiffs. We moved to block this administration from gutting protections against sexual violence for transgender incarcerated people who are 10 times more likely to be sexually assaulted than the general prison population. And we won a decision from the Mississippi Court of Appeals protecting the right of a non-biological lesbian mom to stay in the life of the child that she has raised since birth. This is what one team did in a matter of weeks. And there's another fight where NCLR is leading the way, and that is protecting children from conversion therapy. Over the past decade, NCLR led the movement that passed laws in 25 states protecting LGBTQ kids from this dangerous and discredited practice. This summer, the Supreme Court's decision in Childs versus Salazar raised new questions about how those laws can be written and enforced. And so NCLR got to work again. Following that decision, we led the movement in both public education, messaging, and response. NCLR led a virtual briefing hours after the decision that was attended by nearly 400 of our peers across LGBTQ and progressive institutions. We shared public education materials with nearly 1,000 people across state equality groups and national organizations. We led a public education campaign focused on reaching conservative religious parents to help them understand the dangers of subjecting LGBTQ kids to conversion therapy, working hand in hand with the parent to elevate the story of her son who died by suicide following years of conversion therapy. And we've reached 7 million parents now and counting. We helped Colorado pass a new, stronger law in the wake of the Childs decision, and right now we are working with California and other states to do that exact same thing. We built these protections once and we are building them again, and we won't stop until every LGBTQ child in this country is safe from conversion therapy. We're also protecting our immigration and asylum clients with every tool we have, filing habeas petitions in case they're detained, using the mandamus process to move pending claims forward before the doors close, and meeting with our clients more than ever before as the law shifts under their feet. And we're doing the long work too, the work that doesn't always make headlines but changes lives. Training legal aid organizations across the country so that our information that our communities receive on the ground starts with NCLR. Leading the National LGBTQ Anti-Poverty Action Network and supporting our Rural Pride program because economic justice is LGBTQ justice. This is what your NCLR champions are doing every single day. This team is the best in the movement, and we are all better because of them. Your team makes this possible. And in what will forever and always be my favorite part of this speech, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the NCLR team that works for us every day. We are led by a board of directors that I would follow anywhere. Dulce, Karen, Chloe, Amanda, Elisa, Aaron, Gwen, Jen, Maury, Sparks, and Zoe. I am so proud to lead with you and to be led by you. NCLR also has a long-standing group, the National Family Law Advisory Council, made up of brilliant lawyers across the country that have made LGBTQ family law what it is today. And today we are joined by Deb Kinney, Deb Wald, Emily Doskow, and Liz Schwartz from that council. Thank you so much for your leadership. Shauna, Erica, Sarah, Stacy, you hold this organization up. The contract, compliance, budgets, benefits, IT, the work that nobody notices until it's wrong, you make sure that it's right. You are keeping NCLR safe. Jen, Elizabeth, Michaela, Anna, you are the reason this room is full tonight. Full with our energy, full with our spirit, full with our dedication to each other. You keep us connected, you keep us informed, and you keep our doors open. Lauren and Ellen, you run a savvy, scrappy communication shop with powerful digital and video storytelling, including working on a recent mini documentary about Erica Vandal, one of our transgender military band plaintiffs that was just nominated for an Emmy. When community members or press wanted to understand what was happening, they came to NCLR, The Daily Show, CNN, last week with John Oliver, the New York Times, NPR, Time, PBS, MS, and now. This is not an accident. This is your brilliance, Lauren and Ellen. Shannon, Amy, Chris, Rachel, and KJ, you are our litigation team. Everything I just said about the Trump administration's executive orders, the class actions, the recent Mississippi win for the non-biological lesbian mom, this is them. With the volume and quality of their work, you would think there was twice as many, but there aren't. There are just 5 people who refuse to lose. Ming, you make sure that NCLR's reach goes further than we ever see, training legal aid organizations across the country and hosting our first ever legal aid CLE conferences this year. Tyrone, you keep us honest about who LGBTQ justice has to include, leading the LGBTQ Anti-Poverty Action Network, building up our Rural Pride program, partnering with grassroots organizations, and doing the work the way that it should be done. Janine and Bailey, you hold our legal team together, and the legal team would be the first to tell you so. We are so grateful. And Noemi and Alejandra, protecting our immigrant and asylum clients while the ground shifts underneath them every single day. Our program has never been stronger at the moment we need it most. NCLR board, staff, former NCLR board and staff, and NFLAG, please stand if you can. These are your champions. Please stand, please stand. I am so proud. So in the face of those that so quickly turn their backs on our community, let's remember these few, these merry few, this band of brothers, sisters, siblings, and champions who consider it our honor to fight for our community and for our humanity. Thank you for spending your night with NCLR, and thank you for being in this fight with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. And since we are